Welcome to today's episode of Financial Fluency. Today I have Suzanne Adams with me, who is the best-selling author of Musings of an Earth Angel, motivational speaker, and life purpose consultant. Why do I want to say consult there? I don't know, consultant. Sorry about that. Thanks for joining me, Suzanne.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Great to be here with you.
Well, I am excited. I was just looking over the notes for an interview and I noticed that you have something coming up in Sedona, and living in Flagstaff, Arizona, not many people come very close to where I am. I feel like everything's on the coasts. So I'm super excited about that.
Yes, I loved Sedona. I went there, I think it was like 2010-ish, and it changed my life. That place is amazing. And I always joke and say, if you go sit in Sedona and you don't do anything else but sit there and breathe for a few days, you'll be changed.
Well, we moved to Sedona from Torrance when I was 3 months old, and I lived there through first grade.
Wow.
But that was back then there was school only went up to the 6th grade. We had to bus up to Flagstaff after that. Wow. There was only Bashes and the Flicker Shack. And it was there was none of the resorts and golf courses and all that that's there now. So it's come a long ways in the last 40 years.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I love it.
But I would love to start out with your story. What brought you to this path in life, being the motivational speaker and a life purpose consultant? I'd love to hear about your book. What were you doing before this, and how did you kind of transition into it?
So basically, I lived a life that I thought I was supposed to live. I lived what I call now surface level happiness. And what that means is when you put on a front that you're genuinely happy and that you're always like the shiny, happy, everything's great girl. And, for me, I grew up trying to please everyone, trying to fit in this box that I thought I was supposed to fit in. And I never really even knew who I was on a deeper level. I never really understood true fulfillment. And all I did was I felt like go through the motions. So I got to a point in life where I started to have this feeling in the pit of my stomach telling me there had to be more. There had to be more. And I started to the first time take inventory in my life. And I didn't understand why things weren't working out for me. Romantic relationships weren't working out. I was constantly chasing fulfillment through external situations, through career achievements, through shopping, through validation and opinions of others. And I got to a point in life where for the first time I was truly depressed. And at the time, I didn't even realize I was depressed. I just knew that I couldn't pretend anymore like everything was okay. And by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I needed a glass of wine or a Xanax to feel, I was numbing pain, right? But it was 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. I wasn't an addict or anything like that, but I was definitely using those things to numb pain. And so that kind of catapulted me to really take inventory of what I was placing importance on, what I was living for, and how I wanted the rest of my life to pan out. So feeling like crap like that and understanding that I was not going to live the rest of my life like that really catapulted me onto mission. And it helped me to learn about soul purpose. It helped me to learn who I was on a deeper level. It helped me to understand, research happiness and joy and fulfillment. And it was an obsession for me. I started listening to motivational talks. I started reading any and every book I could get my hands on. I was working with energy healers. And then once I learned about life purpose, forget it. I was really on a mission because I was like, how have I gone my entire life and not known about life purpose? It's what you're born to do. So all of that stuff, learning about all of that stuff and really allowing my body to heal and really allowing myself to let go of the stories and getting out of the what's everyone going to think and bringing myself into alignment changed everything for me. And so now I can genuinely say that I do feel good, a lot better than I feel off. And we're human, nothing's ever going to be perfect, but really understanding the power that we hold within and that we're all born for a reason and a purpose, and that when you can align with that purpose, everything changes for the better. It is really the message that I want to share.
So what is your life purpose?
My life purpose is to teach people how to reach their highest level of potential.
I'm glad you had an answer for that.
You can say it a lot of different ways. To elevate consciousness is a piece of it. I think all of our life purpose is to feel good and to contribute joy to the planet, because we all, have a frequency that we're emitting every single day, everywhere we go. And if your frequency is low vibe and gossipy and, or just down, then that's what you're giving to the planet. So like a big piece of the life purpose that anyone can do is to try to bring as much joy or at least positivity into the world as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always like to think of it kind of as like there's this big conversation going on that involves everybody, and we get to choose whether or not we contribute to it.
Yes,
whether we say something or have any input, or if our life just kind of passes without making much of a mark.
Yeah.
It's a choice, right?
Right.
So tell us about your book, Musings of an Earth Angel. I love that title. It has the Earth Angel song in it, kind of,
Yeah. So when I learned about life purpose, I had been struggling with a lot of things, and figuring out what my life purpose was one. Developing my intuition, because that started to open up for me, and I was scared, and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know about any of this stuff. So understanding divine communication. And then self-love. I had lived my entire life not loving myself. I didn't realize that you attract people that treat you the way you treat yourself. I didn't realize that really to be of service and to elevate, you have to love yourself, and you have to treat yourself really better or as good as the way you treat anyone else. So I was praying and saying, show me how I can do this, show me how I can serve. And, the backstory is I've been obsessed with Twilight and Hunger Games and those kind of books. And so I've been reading all these personal development books, and I wanted to create something that was different, something that a teenage girl or even a mom would want, like an escape, would want a book and a story that was an escape. So I kind of got the download to create a mystical, magical story about a girl on her spiritual awakening who ends up journeying the world. She goes to Sedona, then ends up journeying the world, going to power spots and sort of a soul retrieval mission. And in this, she has the Demon Brigade, which represents the ego and the negativity that we all deal with in today's world. And then she has the archangels and goddesses and her divine team. And so the point and the intention with this book is to awaken people to higher meaning and deeper purpose in a fun and magical way through a story where you journey with the reader, but then it's really relatable because it's stuff that you're going through or stuff that you can relate to. So you pull out the tools, but then you're still in this magical, mystical story.
So it's written as fiction.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. I'm going to read that for sure. I do 100 books a year challenge. James Altucher talks about this. So I tend to, I use the hashtag 100 books a year and like post about all the books I'm reading all the time. And I love that idea because my reading basically splits into fiction and nonfiction. And for fiction, lately I've been going like for Neil Gaiman and, I just read Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find, I go pretty far fantasy just because everything else is so like business and finance and
right.
hard. It feels really good to let your mind kind of like go off into these creative realms of, otherness other than our regular life. So that sounds really exciting. I love the idea of doing it not as a straight like self-help book, but as a fiction book.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out.
Good. Let me know what you think for sure.
I will. When did the book come out?
The book came out, almost about a year and a half ago. So it's been a while, and I'm in conversations now with some Hollywood producers about making it a movie.
Oh, that is really exciting.
Yeah, I know. I'm very excited about that.
That's interesting. And then I saw that last year you spoke at the Hay House World Summit. What was that like?
Oh, it was so much fun and such an honor. And, I believe that is a great example of when you align with your purpose and with your truth, that the path will be cleared on a massive level for you to really go forward. So for me, it was a couple months after my book came out that I got the phone call from Hay House, and they were like, hey, do you want to speak on the summit? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, because I had been watching the summit, and obviously like Deepak Chopra, Gabby Bernstein, Chris Carr, Doreen Virtue, Esther Hicks, all of these people were huge inspiration to me, and the people that I'd been studying and intently. So it was just so exciting and such an honor, and it was great to have exposure on that level and really be able to serve in a much bigger way.
That is exciting. Something funny earlier when you brought up the term self-love, I remember the first time I heard that term, it was maybe 2011. I was reading the Firestarter sessions by Danielle Laporte. And when that line came up, I really hadn't read much self-development stuff. And I thought she was talking about masturbation. So it's like, I was so like disconnected from the idea of taking care of yourself just every day, treating yourself well, loving yourself. And I know that a lot of women do struggle with that. I suffered from childhood sexual abuse, and I know a lot of people who have some sort of sexual violence in their past, it often ends up really impacting our ability to feel that for ourselves, to love ourselves. And honestly, having children changed that a lot for me. I have 2 daughters, and when I think of the way I love my daughters, I sometimes try to think back to like my child self and give myself that kind of love. But it is becoming a much more mainstream concept now, but it wasn't that long ago. How do you explain it to people who are like, self-love, what does that even mean?
Well, first of all, masturbation could be a type of self-love.
That is true. That is true.
That's exactly what you mean. I just had to say that because I think it's funny. Okay, so for me, I had always thought that self-love meant being selfish, because that was what I had been brought up to think. When you put yourself first and when you do this, that's selfish, selfish, selfish. So I think a lot of people probably identify with that. And so to me, self-love is a lot of things. And I think the easiest first step to self-love is to go into your thoughts and think about the thoughts that you tell yourself all day long, because quantum physics proves everything is energy. Our bodies have a frequency that's energy. Everything breaks down into atom cells and molecules that have a frequency, including thoughts and emotions. We're all our toughest critics, right? So if you're thinking all day, God, I stink at that, or I'm not really great at that, or who's ever going to want that from me, or God, I look fat in this, I look ugly, what's my hair doing? Even when someone compliments you and you don't accept the compliment, like those are the basics of starting for self-love, because again, everything is energy, and if you're treating yourself that way, that's what you're attracting. And you're a divine being. We're all divine, glorious beings in these human bodies, and so it's really important to tap into that and to start to shower yourself with love. And self-love isn't only about there's a lot of things, but the thoughts and the thinking, starting with your thoughts, thinking about boundaries. To me, that is a massive place for self-love, because especially as women, I'm not a mom, but my sister has 4 children, and I have tons of friends that are moms, and you guys put yourselves last always. Like, it's natural when you have children. And the thing is that the children they're gonna feel off that, and they're gonna mirror that. And so it's really important to set boundaries with what are your non-negotiables, or your non-negotiables that you need to, your meditation time every day. Do you need a salt bath 3 times a week? And making, like, cherishing and creating these sacred rituals that fill you up from the inside out. And there's a ton of different ways to do it. And you can go from going to a 5-star spa to like getting getting your own, like, just putting some bubble bath and lighting some candles and closing the door with a sign that says do not disturb for 20 minutes. Whatever it is for you, and it's a process, but it's really, really important to hone into that and to understand that what the way you fill your well up is going to affect everyone around you.
Recently, my husband's had some back problems, and he's getting weekly massages right now. And I was like, he's getting them at the physical therapy place, so he's not going to like a 5-star spa or anything. But I couldn't help being like, oh, that's a really good idea. He comes home from work a little early for his PT massage, and I was like, I should start doing that. That would be really nice.
You should. That's a perfect example. And I started doing that. I mean, now I don't do it as often, but like there was a time where almost every week I was getting a massage, and that was what I needed to allow myself to indulge. I mean, they have so many like inexpensive massages where you can do that, like the membership places, or sometimes you can splurge and go to a spa. But I mean, it really is important to let yourself do those things and to treat yourself in luxury a little bit.
Mm-hmm. As you were saying that too, I was thinking about the fact that I went ahead and dry shampooed again today when I really would like a blowout.
There you go. Yes. Perfect example. Blowout and self-love.
Yeah. My hair's gotten so long now, but I love it when it's like Asian straight, like a straight sheet of hair, like it's Gwen Stefani style. But I wasn't there, so I just braided it up. So yeah. But I do go on camera most days, so it would be nice to work in a massage and a blowout a little more.
Yeah, do it. I think that should be your non-negotiables for the next 6 weeks and see how you feel.
That sounds good. Some days though, especially as moms, when like kids get sick and you're dealing with vomit and like doctors, just getting a shower feels like.
I know.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So I also noticed from looking at your file that I have here in front of me that, I mentioned this before. So we have the retreat that's coming up in Sedona. Can you tell us some more about that? Because it's so close to me. I mean, I can drive there in less than an hour.
Oh my
Let's hear about
it. Yeah. So we started hosting these several years ago, and Sedona is just such a magical place and special place for me and my business partner, Cameo. And the first one we did there, we do it at Enchantment Resorts. It was really, really nice. And in that resort, you're nestled in the middle of the Red Rocks and there's no bad view. And it's just really amazing when you come and you escape for 4 days, what you're able to let go of, what is able to be cleared. And the way that spirit shows up and moves through all of these women has just been so remarkable that words can't even explain. And we really just create this sacred circle. And the intention is that everyone that shows up lets go of what is in their way of them really stepping into their next level of leadership. And it's been just truly amazing to see. We do a lot of cool things. We field trip to energy vortexes. We go to the medicine wheel and the stupa. We do crystal healing. We do Kundalini yoga. And then we really, really help everyone deepen their intuition and connect to their divine team. And then really, we've just started to allow spirit and God to move through us in a new way. And it's again, I can't even explain the power that happens. And it's really beautiful to see the women leaving these experiences and going off and elevating and, really becoming visible in a new way. And their income is doubling and tripling. And it's amazing what happens.
Interesting. So I am curious, with the spiritual side of things and then the income side of things, how do you see those connecting?
Well, because everything is energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's two phases. If you're not right, it starts from the inside and works from the inside out. So whatever you're vibing with internally is what you're going to attract externally. So if you're not doing the work on the inside, it's really, really challenging for the tangible stuff to show up on the outside. Or if you have some limiting beliefs that are in the way, or if you're not fully standing in your power, then it's going to be hard for everything externally to show up. So there's two levels to this. And basically, I kind of call it your sovereign power, your authentic power. And that's when you align your personality with your soul. That's when you align the spiritual with the practical. So if you can get really, really clear on your why, like what is your mission? What do you want to do and why? And it doesn't really matter. And we have free will and you can make a choice just so long as it's in alignment, because you do have a lot of choices. It's not like there's one way and it's do or die. You have your mission and there's a million different ways to get there. And then on the practical side, there are real world concrete tools and steps that you have to take. Like for me, writing my book, like I was very in tune. I really allowed something bigger to move through me. There are absolutely pieces of my story in that book, but I had a ritual. I created sacred space and I let, a higher power move through me. I had to show up, sit in the chair, write the book, find the editor, do all the marketing stuff. Like, there's both sides. But if my energy wasn't in tune, if I wasn't loving myself, if I wasn't meditating every day, my vessels would not have been open for what needed to move through. It's the same really with anything. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're doing a digital course, if you're having clients, if you're hosting retreats, if you're speaking on a stage, like, you have to have your channels clean, clear, and open. And it's a process. It's like a ladder. And it's like each time you get higher, then there's just more and more expansion. And it can happen quickly, especially when you commit to an event like this, where you have 30, 40 people traveling from around the world to come in with the intention of connecting on this level and bettering themselves, because it's so powerful when that happens.
Cool. I was thinking about it over the last, 40, 50 years, the shift in this idea of people who are spiritual wearing hair shirts or sacks, owning nothing, maybe having a baking bowl and meditating on a hill or a mountain in somewhere uncomfortable for many, many years in order to get any kind of spiritual alignment. It's been interesting watching that change, because I do feel like the idea of you don't have to give up everything. You don't have to be miserable in your physical existence in order to have some kind of spiritual connection. It really makes it more accessible to more people, because, especially like moms are not going to give up their whole lives and go chant on a mountain for 5 years.
They have kids. You have to. And I believe that I heard Grant Cardone. I don't know if you know him or not. I met him, and at first I thought this guy's office rocker, but he had some great points, what he said. And one thing that I heard him say the other day was, if you're not wanting money, you're selfish. And here's why you're selfish: because you're only thinking of yourself. I don't need that. I don't need a lot. What about all the people that you could help? What about your children, your family, your husband? What about your church? What about your community? What about all the people that you could serve on a spiritual level? And people with money is what changes the world. So it's actually not really spiritual to not want abundance on that level. And it's like, talk about self-love, when you can just not have to worry about money, and you can hire the people to do the things that you don't like. And then you're creating jobs, and then you're creating jobs in a heart-centered space where there's positivity and support. So I think it's really, really important now more than ever that everyone that's on mission own that. And that's actually, we cover wealth consciousness quite a bit at our events, because that's a big piece of it, and it's very important.
That's true. And if we leave the wealth to the Koch brothers and Donald Trumps of the world, then they get to choose the direction that our country and world go in, and we don't have much say if we don't have any financial clout at all. So I think it's always been a hard thing for women too. It's something I talk to people about a lot. It's just, it's only been in the last few decades really that women have had a significant amount of the world's wealth in our hands. Prior to World War II, we weren't even really in the job market at all. We were mostly housewives in this country, and in a lot of the world, women are still, there's a huge sex slavery trade in the whole world, and a lot of cultures still have child brides and like alliance marriages, stuff like that, where you really don't have any choice and you're more a commodity. So I kind of feel like it's a big step for women overall as our sex to earn money and wield our wealth in positive ways.
And go help the people in the other countries that need the help.
Yeah. And to feel like it's our place,
For sure.
Well, that sounds amazing. We'll definitely put some links to the retreat. Is there anything else you want to tell us that happens at the retreat? And do you mind sharing a price point or?
No. So right now we only have about 10 spots left for the retreat, and the price point, depending on how you pay, the pay in full is around $1,700, and that's for the entire 4-day event. And then
in Sedona, that is actually really, really good, because I've been to Enchanted and I know how much it costs to stay there. So considering that's for 4 days at Enchanted,
it doesn't count your room.
Oh, it doesn't count your room. Okay. So it's the event. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, that's amazing, just for 4 days stay there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you still pay your room, but that's for...
But they do have buy 3, get the 4th night free. And we're girls in the group are pairing up for roommates and stuff like that.
Okay.
And we just did our previous retreat in Palm Beach, Florida. And it was, again, just so amazing. We did cacao ceremonies, and it blew my mind. And the videos, what transpired in the videos was so powerful. And, energy, you can hold videos can hold energy. So we actually are creating Ignite and Expand Digital that's going to be launching in July. So I'd love to share that information too. And then I'd love to share my book trailer too, because I think that your audience would probably appreciate my book.
That sounds great. I love it when people make book trailers.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll definitely share all of that. And thank you so much for joining us here. This has been great to learn about you and your stuff. And I'm so excited that you'll be here close to me. Yeah, we'll definitely have to meet up in person and hang out a little, because I don't get that chance very often.
Of course, for sure. Thank you so much.
Oh, and you do also have some free guided meditations, is that right?
Yeah. So I believe meditation is a really powerful way to shift anything. And so people are always asking me for guided meditation. So I have a page with a few different ones that you can choose from. I'd love to share those. They're free. All you do is just pop in your email address and your name, and then you get them in your inbox.
Okay, cool. And if someone is new to guided meditations, can you give them a little intro about what it'll do for them?
Yeah, so basically it just helps you to connect to your higher self, to your higher power. It helps to get rid of anxiety. It helps to bring up your own frequency so you can easily attract your desires. It helps to keep you calm, and it's a really powerful tool that I've meditated every day now for over 3 years, twice a day, and I just cannot say how much it's changed my life in a positive way.
Wow. We definitely hear stories like that. So that is worth trying. Plus, there are all these scientific studies now about mindfulness and meditation, like reducing the effects of stress and heart disease. And so I think whether you approach it from the spiritual or the practical, meditation, everyone pretty much says meditation is something that we should all be doing now.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you want to try out some meditation and you've never tried it before, or if you've tried it and want some new meditations, we'll put the link to Suzanne's meditations below as well. All right, and thank you so much for joining us, Suzanne. I will see you in Sedona in September.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.